I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been coming out of a cocoon, of a hermit season, because I feel like I've been in metamorphosis cycle. I'm coughing because my throat chakra is clearing because I'm probably speaking the truth or learning how to speak the truth for myself. you know, I I've been in hermit mode and I feel like something huge is on the horizon and I'm almost there. After coming back from Italy pilgrimage, which was super powerful for me a few months ago, the end of the year coming into the new year, and it was all going through different places where Eucharistic miracles happen, and I was able to hear the Lord very clearly in some of the places that I went to in Montepello, in Assisi, pretty much everywhere I went, but those, in front of the St. Clare's Basilica, in front of the Saints, St. Carlos. He is in Assisi now. His remains are there. And when I sat in front of his, I guess, remains or tomb, I'm not really sure if I'm saying accurately, but it was like him there and everybody sat, and if they could they sat, some stood, but I heard his messages to me, and he gave me some messages about my life, about my future, and I got stuff from Jesus about my path, and I'm still not sure how it's all going to unfold. And God and Jesus, they've always been in my life, but for years, I wrote a book called Call Me. It was during Lent that I wrote it, back in 2018. It was like 40 days of Jesus coming to me during Lent, and I was going to church every day. My husband and I were going to church every day for 40 days, or that was the idea. Not only did we give up, I don't remember what we gave up, but we also wanted to include something, for God, and it was going to church every morning, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think it was a 7:30 mass, and we continued that because we felt like we needed it and loved it, and for almost a year. And during that time, it took me a while to get that book out there, and I still want to redo the book, and I keep hearing the Lord saying, no, it's out there, it's done, because it was my first book, self-published through KDP, and even though it was channeled through Jesus, the font wasn't the way I wanted it, the design wasn't like I imagine it, but doesn't matter because the words are pure. They're from Jesus. They're exactly what he said, and exactly what I wrote, exactly what I typed, exactly what I printed, exactly what I published. Simple messages, but they're so beautiful and they're so powerful. And not many people know about that book, and I don't even tell people about that book, and I don't even know why. When I first did, got some books in my hands, I gave them out as gifts, but I don't think people really knew what they had in their hands, and I don't remember understanding what I had. In my hands until this moment. And I feel God's presence right now, and I feel so bad that I had those words and I went through with what he said, but I didn't understand. How many people really need those words, no matter what font size they were, what kind of book it was in. So I didn't tell that many people about it. Whew. So this is what's been happening lately for me. I'm crying when I feel God's presence and His truth, because I'm having these times of reflection and understanding things I didn't understand why they were happening, or the importance of them, or how many people are out there that are suffering in silence, that are literally alone, or are surrounded by many but still feel alone in their hearts, in their minds. And the last few months came back, and I was just tired and sick and overwhelmed, and so much has been happening lately. There's a lot of friends that have died lately. A lot of things have been happening on top of work, on top of life, just tired and drained, and then just immersing myself in work, busy, tired, but keep going, do it, go, because I think you have to do it, and it's, your obligation, your responsibility, and all this stuff. And then I turned 52 a couple of weeks ago, and I felt something shifting, something changing, and it's been changing. It's been changing since New Year's Eve. We got into Rome from America. We got into Rome from America. We had been traveling for over 24 hours with this group, with our church pilgrimage, with my husband's stepson, friend, 2 sister-in-laws, the pastor of our church, a couple of sisters, and basically 80 people, 2 bus loads of people. So it wasn't a regular vacation. It was packed full of things to see from history, and so much beauty, so much everything. But that night, we waited at the Basilica. We watched the Pope do Mass for the New Year's. There were thousands of people. It was cold. It was rainy. Our bags didn't make the connection from Frankfurt to Rome. So I happened to have a sweater in my carry-on bag. My husband had shorts on. And I happened to have a thin little jacket for him. And son had a sweatshirt with a broken zipper. And we were cold, but we were there, and we were waiting for the Pope. And sure enough, the Pope came. We weren't sure if he was going to come by us, and he did. And he shook so many hands. And it was cold, and it was shivering, and people were pushing against us, screaming, "Papa, Papa, Papa," trying to get the Pope's attention, and everyone had their phones out, and everyone's doing their thing. And he came up, and he shook my husband's hand, then my stepson's hand, and then my hand, and my friend to the left of me stuck out her hand, and he shook all of our hands. And I cried. I was like, I didn't know I was gonna shake the Pope's hand, the Holy Father, on New Year's Eve. I'm like, I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to go anything else. Like, this was the pinnacle of the trip. And I felt so bad because half the people got stuck from our church. They got stuck in Frankfurt. They didn't make the connection. So we were feeling so bad. Like, oh my gosh, they're missing this. They're missing the Pope. They're missing their opportunity to shake their hands. But we did. We shook his hand. Then we went back and did some stuff, and we ended up going to dinner, just the 3 of us. And like I said, it was New Year's Eve, so everybody was out in the streets. Everyone was getting ready for midnight, and they're celebrating, and they're eating, and they're drinking, and they're out in the streets, and out in all these tables, and all these restaurants, and all this light, and it was beautiful, and all this stuff. And I don't even remember what was happening. I felt like I was happy, and we were laughing, and we were having such a great time, and then something switched in my mind, in my heart. But I'm super sensitive, so I know this happened for a reason, but I don't know what I absorbed. And I remember being upset, and I remember walking away to clear my mind. And as I did that, I walked a little too far in a crowd of hundreds, thousands of people. I don't know if you've ever been in somewhere where there's New Year's celebrations, but this was in Rome, and this is where everybody ate and everybody did the stuff, that I got lost. I looked around and I didn't know where the heck I was. I didn't know the name of I wasn't from there. I didn't know the name of the restaurant because we Ubered there. I looked for my phone. I didn't have my phone. Then I walked and I tried to talk to some people, but everyone was they were drinking and they were having fun, and they didn't really understand me or didn't speak English, or I'm not really sure if they did or not. I just remember breaking down and crying, and I was upset because I just couldn't figure out where I was, how to get help, how to call my husband. And I knew we Ubered there, so there was I felt like it was 30, 45 minutes away from our hotel that I only dropped bags off and put them in the room. I never even slept in this place, so it's not like I know where to go and how to get there. And I just started crying in the streets, quietly at first. Then I started having a panic attack, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't control myself. I couldn't ground myself. I could feel it now, and I was just so scared. I never felt more alone in my life, surrounded by thousands of people smiling and laughing and having fun, looking forward to the new year. But I look back now and I realized so much happened that day, in that fear, in that pain, in that anguish, in that vulnerability. But I legit got lost. I got separated from my family after traveling, like I said, from America to Italy over 24 hours. I was emotional, confused. I had no phone, I had no cash. And I had that major panic attack in front of so many strangers. But but God sent help. God sent this young Italian couple. They just appeared in the store that I had walked into, and the people that worked there were they couldn't understand me, and this couple saw me crying, couldn't breathe, and they spoke a little bit English. They understood what I was saying, and they were so kind, and they helped me calm down. They helped me get a taxi, and they spoke in Italian to the taxi guy. I was able to find my tour book that had the address to the hotel. So I was able to show that to them, and they showed it to the taxi. And I prayed that the taxi guy wasn't gonna take advantage of me, because I was crying and I couldn't catch my breath and he didn't understand me. And I just had faith that these young couple told him where to go and that he wasn't gonna rob me. I mean, all these thoughts were going through my head, because I'm pretty sure I wandered around for a couple hours, crying and lost, couldn't breathe. the people laughing at me, thinking I was either crazy or drunk, or I don't even know. I couldn't understand why people couldn't see that I was in distress and couldn't help me. But he took me back to the hotel. The taxi guy, he had a picture of a young boy, and I said, "Is that your son?" And he understood me a little bit, and he said yes. And even though I had no cash, I did find a credit card that the couple helped me take out money. And I don't even know, it may have been 20 euros for the drive, and I had 50. I don't know, whatever I had, I knew it was way more than it was, and I just was like, here, take it. Happy New Year, thank you so much. Please, I hope God blesses you. Thank you for getting me here safe. And I just remember crying, and he just looked at me. He actually looked like he cared. He was compassionate. He was just like, take care of yourself, be safe. And I walked into the hotel, and I made it back. I made it home. I made it safe with the grace of God. And I didn't understand how that was happening. It wasn't quite midnight yet. It wasn't quite the New Year, but I made it home, made it back to my family. They were worried about me, but they were so happy. And we just didn't even want to talk about it. I was like, you don't even know what I went through. And I was just so glad to be safe. I didn't even want to talk about it, but my heart was broken. I just felt like everything inside me broke. But then at the same time, I was like, I made it back. I made it home. And I looked back the last couple of days, and I realized I had left my old self on the streets of Rome on that New Year's Eve, 2025, before midnight. After the most beautiful moment of meeting the Pope and shaking his warm hand and looking at his face, and he was just so kind and loving, to that horrible experience, treacherous, torture. It was just, I don't wish it on anyone, but I needed that to break free of the old identity, old self. Because once I calmed down, once that couple came, once I calmed down and I was able to breathe, they understood what I needed, what I wanted, what was happening, and they were able to help me. They were able to guide me, to usher me to safety. And I thank them for that. I never got their name. I remember asking them for it, and I don't remember because I didn't have my phone. I don't even know. Maybe I have something in my bag that I don't even know. Actually, I gotta look. But I will never forget them or the driver or my experience. But the moral of the story is I'm coming out of whatever I went through into my new self, into my new identity, and that part of me is going towards God. I've always had God in my life and Jesus, but more than ever, Jesus comes to me, God comes to me. And, Jesus walks with me, he gives me messages, and now he tells me I'm ready to share messages. I'm ready to share the word of God, and I'm trying not to question. He said, go ahead, record, hit record and share it today. I haven't recorded in a while. And then I was also thinking about these things that happen and these beliefs, and I'm trying to purify my energy and watch what I listen to. I'm listening to more Christian music, I'm listening to what are these Shout to the Lord, the song by Hillsong Worship, Love of God by Brandon Lake and Phil Wickman. can only imagine. I keep hearing that every time the Lord comes near me. I hear parts of I Can Only Imagine. I hear parts of There Was Jesus by Zach Williams and Dolly Parton. I hear parts of the songs, and I keep singing them and reading the lyrics so I can remember them, because that's how God speaks to me sometimes, through the verses in the song. And then I know He's here, and I listen to what the words are. But I was also not only purifying my environment and what I listen to, because it's Lent, I gave up a few things, but I'm also reading the Bible and reading scripture and writing scripture and asking God, is there a scripture that I need to know, that I need to read? And then just purify my energy. So I was thinking about limits and limitations and things that I put into my life because of classes and courses and mentors, because you're trying to create courses and digital courses and this and that and the other thing, and all this is great and awesome, but I'm like, why didn't all that stuff work for me? I put in all this work, I spent all this money, all this time, nothing ever happened for me because it wasn't supposed to. I was learning patience. I was learning to trust myself, my intuition, my God. And those weren't meant for me. It was meant for me to do it somebody else's way. It was meant for me to do it God's way, the Lord's way. So that's what I'm doing now. So I said, God, I realized all these classes and courses, people said, hey, write down how much you want to make a month or in a year. Write it down to yourself, or make a promise, or write a number, or put a date on it, manifest it, this, that, the other thing. And it sounded great and sounded all this stuff, but it never worked. It always felt off, but I didn't realize I had my own limiting beliefs, and they had their own limiting beliefs. And it wasn't being filtered the right way, because if it was being filtered the right way, they would know not to put caps and limitations on it, because then we absorb that and we take that in. And we're all learning, we're all growing. They don't know, I didn't know I was going, okay, it's okay, I received that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to try that, because you think they're the authority, you're credible, you're looking for hope, and you're looking for that. But I didn't realize, or what I'm realizing, and believe me, I'm realizing a lot the last couple of days, the more I hear the Lord, ever since Lent actually. And I was still learning, I was still growing, and I'm still learning, and I'm still growing, and I'm still recognizing the blessings in everything I thought was a failure. And I'm recognizing the fear that is stopping me from the stuff I have not done, or from really sitting down with God and sitting down with the Lord and really listening to what they are guiding me to. So I did. I wrote down. I said, okay, what do I need to learn about the stuff? What do I need to clear out of my mind, out of my energy? And I heard to expose, the limits that I had put on myself, to expose them and to denounce them. So I was kind of writing down all this stuff. And then I added some more stuff, because I needed to know. I'm like, there's more stuff I don't know that's in there. So I was looking, and I added more stuff on there, and then I heard to record it. So that's what's coming up next. It's like a clearing or an expansion declaration, but it's with the help of God. It's talking to God and asking for His help, His cleansing, His clearing of all these limitations, all these caps, all these limiting beliefs that I put on myself, that I asked for, I did, and then I took from other people, and their stuff wasn't filtered, So anyway, this is not to blame everyone, because I was okay with it, not even knowing it, but I'm learning. So I'm sharing that with you now. So that's my story. I hope this helps someone. I heard somewhere that I don't even know, some girl who was saying that she like heard from God. There's so many people that channel God. They're so amazing, and you could feel it. Well, I could feel it, because for me the room gets really misty and smoky when I'm supposed to hear what they say, and I could feel in my heart Jesus speaking to me through them. And so I take what resonates, what feels right, and I filter it through God. God, is this right for me? Jesus, is this what I'm supposed to hear? Is this what I'm supposed to do? But it's scary thinking you're gonna, almost you feel like, my whole life's gonna change. But what if it does? Not in a scary way. What is God gonna ask me to do? But he's gonna ask you, and if you obey, he will ask you something else and something more. And it'll be better than you could imagine, even though it feels scary. I'm trying to turn my fear into faith. And I just share, like, if God gives me these messages, if God gives me these gifts, to know to expose what's in there, to denounce what's in there, and that could, with his will, cleanse it and clear it off my energy, off my heart, off my mind, out of my relationships, out of my home and my business and my future and my community and all that good stuff. Why wouldn't I share it with someone? What about if I drop dead today? The wisdom, the knowledge stops with me. It's all those years of knowledge, of wisdom and connection, and all these gifts I've received from the Lord, from God, from all our communication. It dies with me. And I don't want it to die with me. I want to share what I know, share what I'm given, and hopefully help somebody that's gonna go through it, is going through it, has gone through it, and is ready to see through God's eyes. God help me to see through your eyes. Lord, help me. Let me see through your eyes. Bet you everything is beautiful and wonderful, and there is no fear, no judgment. There's only joy and happiness. I hope this served you. Look to the Lord, look within, look for answers. He wants you to be silent. He wants you to communicate, but don't just pray out loud. Close your eyes and listen. And then when your eyes are open, pay attention to the little God winks, whispers in the wind, little confirmations that he is right there with you at every moment. The bird, the call, the text, the numbers, the song, whatever it is, just pay attention and rest in the knowing that he's right by your side. He's there with you always, looking after you. But call him in, invite him in, and when he comes and when he calls, be obedient, be open your heart, mind to him, to his words. Okay. Listen to what I let go of, and perhaps it'll help you. God, I ask you to expose and illuminate any agreements, contracts, promises, vows, affirmations, manifestations, timelines, income caps, earning ceilings, expectations, or limitations that I have consciously or unconsciously created. Reveal anything I have written, spoken, imagined, declared publicly or privately, agreed to in silence, or accepted in my heart that has restricted my earning capacity, impact, identity, faith, or expansion. Expose anything seen or unseen, known or unknown, remembered or forgotten, spoken or unspoken, whether formed in faith, fear, pressure, performance, hope, or misunderstanding. If I have attached my worth to numbers, dates, outcomes, or public declarations, show me clearly. If I have set specific income amounts as ceilings instead of stepping stones, reveal it. If I have created internal contracts in classes, courses, mentoring spaces, sacred settings, or private prayer that now function as limits, bring them fully into the light, into your light. With your authority and in alignment with your truth and will, I denounce any and all self-imposed limits, caps, ceilings, contracts, vows, affirmations, meditations, manifestations, timelines, expectations, promises, and energetic set points or intercession points or imprints or anything else that restrict the fullness of what you desire for me and what you will for me. I denounce agreements rooted in fear, scarcity, comparison, guilt, performance, pressure, or any and all misunderstandings, all directions of time, all languages, including light and sound, all aspects, layers, levels, paradigms, dimensions, and densities, known and unknown, and anything else known and unknown. I denounce hidden ceilings. I denounce silent contracts. I denounce subconscious earning caps. I release regret. I release shame. I release guilt. I release anger. I release resentment. I release self-distrust. I release self-sabotage. I release unworthiness. I release anything and everything, seen and unseen, that wasn't for my highest and greatest good and your desire and will for me. I also bring before you any mentors, teachers, leaders, speakers, creators, family, friends, strangers, or influences whose words, teachings, or frameworks may have carried unseen limitations, patterns, ceilings, timelines, or earning caps, whether they were aware of it or not. If I absorb beliefs, patterns, imprints, expectations, anything else, seen and unseen, hidden and not, or identity frameworks that were formed from their own unexamined limits, I ask you now to expose and remove those as well. Thank you. I acknowledge that we are all learning as we grow. I choose forgiveness. I forgive them for any limitations they unknowingly modeled or transmitted through their words or teachings, through their patterns, belief systems. I forgive myself for receiving, agreeing with, or internalizing those limits without discernment, without checking with you. Guide us as we mature in wisdom so that our words reflect freedom rather than hidden fears. Or I have spoken from fear rather than faith, from pressure rather than alignment, from unconscious limitations rather than truth. I ask you to correct me, to show me, to cleanse my influence and restore what my words might have impacted. Purify my thoughts, Lord. Renew my mind. Remove limitations I cannot see or perceive with my physical eyes, with all my eyes. Help me to see through your eyes rather than through past goals, past identities, or past declarations, or anything else seen and unseen. All levels, all directions of time, all languages, including light and sound. All aspects, dimensions, levels, densities, paradigms, dimensions, realms. I surrender fixed numbers and fixed timelines. I receive expansion aligned with your will. Let my income, impact, stewardship, and capacity grow without artificial ceilings. Let my expansion be defined by you alone.